A hearing today in the Sean Diddy Combs case as his lawyers appeal his conviction on prostitution-related charges.
Tell you about what's going on with Diddy. Lawyers for Sean Diddy Combs will be in federal court today.
The internet didn't just wake up today. Got slapped with a headline so wild, so unbelievable. It felt like somebody accidentally leaked the final episode of a courtroom drama nobody was ready for. Because somehow, someway, Sean Combs, yeah, that Diddy just had his entire narrative flipped upside down with a life sentence. Twist that sent shockwaves across social media like a digital earthquake. Now hold on. Breathe for a second. Because when you hear life sentence, your brain doesn't just process it calmly. Oh no, it immediately goes into chaos mode. People refreshing timelines, group chats blowing up, fans turning into investigators. Overnight, like they just got hired by a Netflix docuseries. It was giving courtroom meets reality TV meets full-blown internet meltdown. And the reactions? Oh, they weren't normal. They were loud, confused, emotional. Half the internet screaming, "Wait, what?" While the other half was already pulling up old clips, interviews, and rumors like they were building a timeline board in a detective movie. It didn't take long before this stopped being news and turned into a full-on spectacle. Because, let's be honest, this isn't just any celebrity we're talking about. This is Diddy, a man whose name has been tied to power, influence, and decades of dominance in the industry. So when a headline like this drops, it doesn't just shake things. It rattles the entire culture. It makes people question everything they thought they knew. And here's where it gets even crazier. Because the story didn't come with clean answers, nope, it came with confusion, contradictions, and just enough mystery to keep everybody hooked. Was this real? Or was it exaggerated? Was something bigger happening behind the scenes? The questions started stacking up fast, and nobody had a clear answer. Meanwhile, celebrities stayed suspiciously quiet, at least at first. And you already know what that means. When people who usually talk suddenly don't. Oh yeah, something deeper is going on. The silence was louder than any statement, and fans picked up on it immediately. But the real chaos? It came from the possibility, because if this is true, this life sentence twist actually holds weight, then we're not just witnessing drama, we're watching history shift in real time, and trust me. What started coming out after that headline? Yeah, it made everything 10 times more intense. Now let's rewind this whole situation because what we're not about to do is act like this headline just dropped out of thin air. Oh no. When it comes to Sean Combs, there's always history, layers, and a whole lot of moments that suddenly start looking very different when new information hits the timeline. And the second that life sentence phrase started trending, yeah, people didn't just react, they went digging. Because, let's be real, Diddy's story has never been simple. This is someone who built an empire from the ground up, turned influence into power, and stayed relevant through multiple eras. Like he had a permanent VIP pass to the culture. Music, business, connections, his name carried weight. So when a narrative like this starts forming, it doesn't just shake things. It makes people reevaluate everything. And that's exactly what the internet started doing. Old interviews resurfacing, past rumors suddenly trending again. Moments that people once brushed off, getting replayed with a whole new level of attention. Was like the entire timeline turned into a documentary editor, piecing together clips like, wait, does this connect? I don't know. And once that curiosity kicks in, oh, it spreads fast. But here's where it gets messy, because not everything being thrown around was clear, confirmed, or even accurate. You had half the internet treating speculation like facts, while the other half was trying to slow things down, like, hold on, where is this actually coming from? It was giving chaos mixed with confusion, and nobody could fully separate truth from noise. Meanwhile, the media energy, oh, it was all over the place. Some outlets pushing the story hard, others staying cautious, and a few just sitting back watching the internet do its thing. 'Cause, let's be honest, when social media starts moving this fast, it becomes its own machine. facts, opinions. Rumors, they all get blended together until it's almost impossible to tell what's real anymore. And right in the middle of that storm, Diddy's silence. Now that is what really had people talking. Because when someone at that level doesn't immediately respond to a headline this explosive, it doesn't calm things down, it makes them louder. Fans started reading into everything. Why hasn't he said anything? Is this serious? Is there something bigger happening behind the scenes? The questions started multiplying. Like wildfire. At the same time, you could feel the tension building across the industry. People weren't jumping in right away, and that hesitation, yeah, it felt intentional. Because in situations like this, timing is everything. Speak too soon and you risk saying the wrong thing. Stay quiet too long and the narrative starts writing itself without you. And guess what? That's exactly what was happening. Because while everyone waited for clarity, the internet filled in the gaps with its own version of the story. Theories, breakdowns, predictions. It was like watching a live script being written with no director in control. Some people were convinced this was exaggerated. Others believed it was just the tip of something much bigger. And the more people talked, the more intense it got. But here's the turning point. Because just when the situation was already sitting at maximum tension, little details started slipping out. Not full confirmations, not clear statements. Just enough information to keep people locked in and questioning everything even harder. And the moment those details hit, that's when this story stopped being just a headline, started turning into something way more serious. And just when people thought the situation couldn't get any more intense, that's when everything went into overdrive. Because the moment those small details started leaking out, the internet didn't just react, it activated. Timelines moving faster than breaking news channels, group chats turning into war rooms. And suddenly everybody had a theory, like they were part of some elite investigation unit. Now, let's talk about the escalation. Because this wasn't gradual, it was instant. The phrase life sentence wasn't just trending anymore. It was dominating every corner of social media. And the more it spread, the more exaggerated, twisted, and amplified the story became. Some people were treating it like confirmed reality. Others were calling it misinformation. And in the middle, pure chaos. Meanwhile, Sean Combs remained the center of a storm he wasn't even directly fueling. And that made it worse because silence in a moment like this, it doesn't slow things down. It gives the internet space to create its own narrative. And trust me, the internet loves filling in blanks with drama. Then came the fan reactions. And oh, they were split in the most dramatic way possible. You had one side going full defense mode, like this doesn't even make sense. Y'all are reaching. Wait for actual facts. Meanwhile, the other side was already acting like this was the final chapter. Pulling up past controversies, old headlines, anything that could fit into the story like puzzle pieces forced into place. And just when you thought that was enough, the memes hit a whole new level. This wasn't just jokes anymore, it was full cinematic storytelling. Courtroom edits, dramatic soundtracks, fake trial scenes. Even people creating imaginary dialogue like they were writing scripts for a streaming platform. It was funny, yes, but also wild, because it showed just how fast the internet turns real situations into entertainment. But here's where it got even more complicated. The contradictions, because as fast as information was spreading, it was also clashing. One post saying one thing, another post saying the opposite. People quoting sources that nobody could verify. Clips being taken out of context and reposted. Like they were fresh evidence. It was like trying to follow 10 different versions of the same story at once. And then the industry started reacting. Not loudly, not directly, but enough to be noticed. Subtle tweets, cryptic captions. Pray for people type messages that didn't name anyone but somehow felt very specific. And you already know how the internet works. The moment someone posts something even slightly vague, fans turn into detectives. That's about Diddy. No, that's about the situation. Wait, what do they know that we don't? This became a full-blown decoding mission. Then came the comparisons, and this is where things got theatrical. People started calling this a real-life version of a Netflix docuseries unfolding in real time. Others compared it to WWE storylines, where nobody knows who's playing what role anymore. Some even said it felt like a Kardashian-level media storm, where perception is everything and every move gets analyzed from 10 different angles. But beneath all the jokes, edits, and commentary, there was a shift, a serious one, because at some point people stopped laughing as much. The tone changed, the energy got heavier. And that's when the realization started creeping in. What if this isn't just internet exaggeration? What if something real is actually happening here? What if we're watching a situation unfold that's bigger than we think? And just like that, the chaos turned into tension. Because now, instead of just reacting, people were waiting for confirmation, waiting for a statement, waiting for anything that could bring clarity to a situation that was spinning out of two. Control. And trust me, that moment, was getting closer. And this is where everything slowed down just enough to feel dangerous. Because after all the noise, the edits, the theories, and the nonstop chatter, the energy shifted into something heavier. Not loud chaos anymore, but tense silence. The kind where people are still watching, still refreshing, but now they're waiting instead of reacting. And when the internet goes from screaming to watching quietly, that's when you know something serious is hanging in the air. Now let's talk about Sean Combs, 'cause at this point, he wasn't just trending. He was the center of a narrative that kept evolving without him saying a word. And that silence became louder than anything else. Every hour without a response added pressure, added speculation, added layers to a story that already felt overwhelming. Meanwhile, the public mood started shifting again. The same people who were joking earlier, they started stepping back. Because once the possibility of something serious sinks in, the tone changes fast. Memes slow down, jokes fade. And suddenly, the conversation becomes less about entertainment and more about impact. And the impact, it was hitting. From all angles, fans started questioning everything they thought they knew. Supporters looked uneasy. Critics got louder. And the entire situation turned into a reflection moment for the culture itself. Because when a figure this big gets tied to something this intense, it doesn't stay personal, it becomes public, cultural, and almost symbolic. But here's where things got even more unpredictable. Because behind the scenes, there were movements. Not clear statements, not official confirmations, but shifts. Energy changes. The kind of subtle signals that make people pause and say, wait, something is happening. And once that feeling spreads, it doesn't go away. It grows, it builds. It turns into anticipation. And that anticipation, it was everywhere. People watching for updates like it was a live broadcast, refreshing pages, checking comments, looking for any clue that could explain what was really going on. It's because at this point, it wasn't just curiosity anymore. It was tension. Real tension. Then came the moment that flipped everything. AGAIN. Not a dramatic speech, not a loud announcement, but a realization that hit the timeline all at once. Nobody actually knew the full truth. And that's what made this situation feel even bigger. Because now it wasn't just about one headline or one rumor. It became about how fast narratives can form, how quickly people can believe something, and how difficult it is to separate fact from speculation once the internet takes control. And here's the twist it's changed everything. The story that started as a life sentence update started looking less like confirmed reality and more like a rapidly spreading narrative built on fragments, assumptions, and amplified reactions. And that realization, it hit hard because it forced everyone to step back and ask, how did we get here this fast? But even with that clarity starting to form, the situation wasn't over. Not even close. Because the damage of a moment like this doesn't just disappear. The questions remain, the tension lingers, and the spotlight, it stays right where it is, waiting for the next development, the next statement. It's the next twist that could flip everything all over again. And if there's one thing we've learned from this entire situation, it's this. In the world of viral headlines and instant reactions, the truth doesn't always arrive first. But when it does, it changes everything. And trust me, that moment, it's coming. Now hold up. Don't just scroll past like your brain didn't just go through a full 360 spin. Because what we just witnessed, that wasn't just news. Well, that was a whole internet takeover. Confusion, reactions, theories, drama, all wrapped into one chaotic moment that had everybody talking at the same time. So now, I need you to tap in. What do you think really happened here? Was this a real situation that got blown way out of proportion? Or are we only seeing the surface of something way deeper? Because let's be honest, the way this spreads, the speed, the reactions, the silence, something about it doesn't feel normal. Drop your opinion in the comments right now, and don't be boring either. I want the bold takes, the wild theories, the something ain't adding up energy. You think this was misinformation gone crazy? Or is there more waiting to be revealed? It's because the comment section, it's about to turn into a whole debate arena. And listen, smash that like button like it owes you money. Hit subscribe like you're locking into the next episode of this madness, and turn on notifications so you don't miss when the truth finally drops. Because you already know it's coming. Stories like this don't just fade away. They come back louder. Stay alert, stay questioning, and keep your eyes on the timeline, because the next update, it might flip everything again. This is Secret Scoop, where headlines turn into chaos.